Hello. This is Brad Spencer here, and I am here to talk to you guys today about how to do win-win deal making 80-20 style. I'm going to teach you how to create deals with people that people really want without being really super clever or outgoing. I'm going to talk about a lot of things in this video. A little bit of it's tactical, but a lot of it's mindset, and we'll just jump right into it. So let's get started. All right, so here's where I was. That's me on the right. If you don't know me, my name is Brad Spencer. I've been doing this business game for almost a decade now. Contrary to what a lot of people think, a lot of people seem to think I'm like 20 years old, which is kind of funny. When I go out and go to restaurants and they card me and they're surprised that I'm 31 years of age. I guess I'm young looking, but funny enough, I want to just give you guys some scope on where I was before I started creating deals with the win-win style that I talk about. And the biggest thing in the first one really was, I used to be really afraid of accepting my own value. I never gave myself any credit for the things that I've done. And it was really insidious because in my case, I knew logically that I made a lot of people a lot of money, but in my case, I was getting a percentage off the top. So, I would usually at that time in the early days, I would get about 10% of what came in sales off the top. So in my head, like I focused obviously on big elephant deals, stuff where, you do put something together and it would sell $100,000 or something like that. And, in my mind, like that was an okay deal. Cause in my head, I would get, $10,000, or whatever over time. So for me to hit my numbers every month, I had to put a lot of volume through. And what happened was, in my case where I was afraid was, I always thought instead of realizing like, oh, I create a lot of money and I put things together that sell a lot of product, I actually was a little bit limiting myself and thinking that, a $100,000 deal was really a $10,000 deal. So those $20,000 paydays where, you'd run a webinar or create a new product launch or something of that nature, I would only think it was a couple grand. And I felt like a loser, unconsciously, of course, and I didn't actually realize this, on the top of my mind. But, as I worked through stuff, that's what ended up occurring is I was afraid of accepting my own value and giving myself credit where I was due. Which led to, unfortunately, never asking for what I wanted because I was so afraid. So I was afraid of accepting my own value and realizing like I was actually pretty good at what I did. And then that led to me never asking what I wanted because I was afraid that people wouldn't want to work with me anymore if I started asking for more things or designing the deal the way I wanted it to go, where it was a win-win. And when I finally gave that up, everything changed. It was a huge breakthrough for me, and that was hard. I'm not going to lie. That was a lot of work the last couple of years to really, put that old Brad to bed. And you might be going through that too. So I wanted to share that with you just so you know that while I am good at this stuff, it wasn't always, sometimes it was unconscious competence. Let's just put it that way. So the last thing, where I used to be was I was really good at a lot of things, but I never mastered anything in business. Now, this led to a lot of problems. I was able to help a lot of people out, do a lot of value, create a lot of things, make a lot of friends, but I never really mastered anything. So what ended up occurring was I did not become a specialist. I was a generalist, a very good generalist, but still a generalist nonetheless. And a generalist will always be the first one to get replaced or automated out. Where you get wealthy in business is by being a specialist and focusing, and then going from a specialist to a specialist with leverage, okay? That's huge, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in this video. So the core principle that changed everything for me was a saying that if you ever seen me talk on stage or attended one of my webinars or any of those types of things, I always say this in everything I do. If it's not a win-win, it's a fail-fail. And what that basically means in my case was I always was really good at making it a win for the other guy, or gal, but I was not doing and making it a win for me, okay? So it would turn into a fail-fail. And what I realized is that by kind of subconsciously, because it was definitely not conscious, screwing myself over, I actually failed the other person because I wasn't giving myself what I wanted. And what that shows up as is it shows up from moving on to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. So if you're one of those types of people who is always on to the next thing, the next big thing, the next project, like the hustle and flow, hustle and grind, one thing after the next, really take a step back and ask yourself, where are you screwing yourself over? Because when you're giving yourself everything you want, a lot of times that desire to just always have something new kind of tones itself down. And that's just what I've experienced, and the people I've taught this to have had the similar experience in their own way. So, what I really did for myself was taking a step back, and I really learned to focus on finding what other people really wanted. And a lot of times that wasn't always more money. Let's be frank, a lot of people, especially when you get up to the higher levels of business, making more money is great. It's something they want, but it's not the primary motivation. A lot of people, and you can ask yourself this question, if you're pretty successful, or you consider yourself pretty successful for your own view, if you could double your income by working 10 times as many hours, would you do it? Most people are going to answer no, and most people actually couldn't do that if they wanted to, because there's not enough hours in the day. And that illustrates the point that more money is not always a good thing. So for me, I really got good at focusing on what people really wanted. And a lot of times that's maybe camaraderie if they're working by themselves and they want to work with people who are doing same type of thing they are, and they just want that socialization with someone who gets it. It could also be someone that's gotten good at something and wants to transition out of that to something else. And at the end of the day, your job as a business person, whether it's your customers or partners or whatever, is to always be really good at finding out what people really want. That's sales 101, and it works even in partnerships and deal making. So, in my case, once I realized those things, and I'll kind of jump in and show you how to focus and give you a real little mental model to follow here in a minute. But I templated everything that wasn't the above stuff. Everything from creating pages and ClickFunnels that I could duplicate across the board, email campaigns, all the other assets that I'm usually in charge of. I templated all those things in order to be able to deploy them a lot quicker because they weren't high priority. Like you need those things to accomplish your mission. But if you don't know what people really want, you're really wasting, you're kind of doing a spray and pray model rather than like a laser focus model. Okay, so I templated everything so I could deploy them in about 1/5 the time that most people can. I can create a campaign that'll pull in $20,000 on a webinar, and I can do it, in an afternoon, in an hour or two. Because I have templates for this stuff, and I've tested them over and over and over again in multiple different markets, and they work pretty consistently within a range of, $20,000 to $50,000. And I don't say that to brag, because $20,000 to $50,000 isn't really that much money in the big scheme of things, but it's where I personally am at right now with projects, and you stack those up, and over time they turn into income streams, which is what I'm really good at and what I enjoy doing the most. So. We do pretty well, and a lot of people are very happy with the work that I do. So, one of the things, kind of moving ahead, I want to give you an overview of what we're going to be talking about in this video. I've given you a little bit already about me and the core principle that I'm following that's everything's based on. I've broken this video up kind of into 4 pieces. The 80-20 style of creating win-win deals, I'm going to teach you how to do that and a simple framework to follow. I'm going to give you a 3-letter system that I follow for every one of my business deals that helps me to find openings, like ways to kind of sneak into somebody's business and help them and create a lot of value quickly, and do it with the people that I like to work with. That's the thing with me. You'll find I only work with people that I like. You can say what you want about that, but I believe that's the most effective way to live a happy life, is to work with people you love and have fun and build long-term relationships. That's Brad Spencer 101. The next part of this in this video is the simple phrase for focusing and having more fun doing these win-win deals. I really love what I do, and this phrase really helps me to narrow down and go even deeper and have even more fun all the time. And lastly, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more big picture about the mental model that I've given you in those 3 previous sections, and how it can improve other areas of your life, like your family, your finances, and even your health. I'm not a health expert, that's why I didn't put it in the slides, but it does work, and I use the same mental model for that as well. And that's important because I think all this stuff ties together into a real nice feedback loop. So I wanted to talk about those little more intangible things at the end of the video. All right, so let's get started. Let's dive right in. So here's the 80-20 style of creating win-win deals. So it really comes down to 3 things. Okay. First, I want you to ask yourself, what are the 1 to 3 things that you do that consistently win? And for me, to give you some examples and something to start about is these are the things. When I say consistently win at, I mean like 80 to 90% of the time you're good on the first try. You've done it so many times, you know it's going to work 80 90% of the times, if not 100% of the time. So for me, those 3 things are turning content that's sitting on someone's hard drive into a long-term asset. I just have a good mindset for that and a good couple business models that allow that to be really easy and templates to support that. Brokering deals between 2 different parties. I'm really good and I really enjoy seeing things that other people don't see and combining things together using my own models and combining assets of 2 separate parties into one unique thing that wouldn't have happened otherwise. I really enjoy that. It's like a puzzle for me. And the last part that I'm really good at is creating offers. I really enjoy creating offers, mostly at the mid-ticket level. I'm not as good at launches, but I'm working on that right now to create lower entry-level products. I enjoy creating offers. I love solving problems. I love my templates help me do that a lot faster and ask better questions of customers when I talk to somebody's customers and find out what's really going on. So those are the 3 things for me that I consistently win at. So take a second, pause this video and write down those things that you're good at in your business and really make it 1 to 3 things. If you're doing more than that, you're too much of a generalist. So focus in your business. What are the 1 to 3 things that you do? All right. The next thing to do now that you're back from making your list, so take a second and get that list down. All right. So once you've done that, make a list of 3 to 5 people that you'd really enjoy working with, but you're not maybe already working with them. If you are working with your ideal people, write those people down. All right. And I'll take a minute, and write those people down that you would like to work with and build a relationship with. And then the last thing, once you've done that, ask this question. And just I'm going to slow down a little bit, and I want you to listen to this really carefully. How can I use my always win skills to make my 3 to 5 ideal people more happy and wealthy and do the same for myself? I'm going to repeat that again, okay? How can I use my always win skills to make my 3 to 5 ideal people more happy and wealthy and do the same for myself? Okay? When you do this, you'll create a matrix, and I would have included it in this slide. I just didn't know how to make a matrix in PowerPoint. But long story short, if you take the 1 to 3 skills, and you go approach one of the people on your list, those are 3 potential skills that you can bring to the table to work with that person. If you have 5 of those people, that means you have 15 opportunities. 3 skills times 5 people is 15 opportunities right off the bat to create more wealth and happiness for those people and for yourself. Now, you probably won't always be able to get 15 of them off the ground. I find that 3 to 4 of them is usually enough to do whatever I want with, and I just constantly go deep with those people. That's why I only say 3 to 5 and 1 to 3 skills, okay? Because at the end of the day, you need a lot less than what you think you need in order to feel happiness and wealth and more of that all the time, more and more of that abundance that people talk about but don't really tell you how to do. This is how you do it. This is what I think. This is how I do it for myself. And everyone I've ever taught this to, they always have a similar experience. So I'm sharing it with you. So that's the 80-20 style of creating win-win deals. There's a lot of things that go into that. There's a lot of things I do on the side and templates and things that I'll talk about in other videos, but this is the basics of it. At the end of the day, this is it. Okay. So let's move on. Here's the 3 letters that will change how you view business forever, okay? So every business, whether it's a biotechnology company or a car wash around the corner, excuse me, really comes down to 3 things. It's called LCF. It's the LCF model, okay? And this stands for lead generation, conversion engine, and fulfillment. So lead generation is how does, you ask yourself this question, how does this business or deal get in front of the right people? Okay, how do you get the customers to see the thing? And the thing you want them to see is the conversion engine. How does this business or deal convert people most effectively into customers, prospects into customers? That's a conversion engine. Lastly, you've got fulfillment, which is how does the business or deal fulfill what it promised these new customers? Okay, and what you'll find is usually your 1 to 3 skills that I mentioned on the previous slide will actually be kind of focused around one or two of these three things. Rarely will you be able to do all three really well. That's what I find. So in my case, I focus mostly about 60% on the conversion engine part of the equation, and the rest of it's on lead generation. That's why I love taking people who have products sitting around and figuring out how to sell it. I love it. It's fun for me. I enjoy it tremendously. I can't express that enough. And usually the lead generation that I focus on is how to leverage email lists more effectively. I enjoy that quite a bit, actually. You might be a media buyer, let's say. If you're a media buyer, you might focus 80% on lead generation and 20% on conversion optimization and optimizing the conversion process. So you would partner with somebody who's got a good process or a conversion engine and knows how to fulfill what they promise and do it successfully, but maybe they need more customers, and that's how you would create win-win deals for your business. Okay, so LCF is everything, and if you can't figure out the LCF of a business, you don't understand it, and you need to ask more questions, because it really is that simple when you distill it down. Every single business goes down to LCF. Okay, so that's the LCF model. And I wanted to share that with you just because I want you to be able to diagnose when you dive into something where someone's problems is. When you find out what people really want, usually they have two of these things and they're looking for the third. That's what I find most of the time. So if you understand this, you can ask better questions and see where their real problem is do they need more leads? Or do they need a better conversion engine? Or do they need an easier way to fulfill where they're not working as much? And if you can focus on those types of things and ask those types of questions, you're going to be really effective, and you're going to be coming into a business deal with being very popular, actually, because when you do this for people a couple times, your word will get out about you, and you'll have exactly what you want. All right, so I'm going to teach you something else now. We're going to transition out of that a little bit and into a little bit more soft and tangible stuff. And this is important, I think, with the win-win deal making, because it's all about doing less so that you can do more. And this is how you do it. So I'm going to give you a phrase, and I say this all the time too, just like the win-win or fail one from a couple slides ago, is that everything you say yes to means you're saying no to something else. Okay? That means everything you say yes to means you're saying no to something else. So whatever you do, a lot of people are very busy, and they think doing more and doing more and doing more is how they have a better life. And the reality is that that's not true. Less is more, I find. So what I want you to do right now, and take a pause of this video after I read this and do this exercise. It's really powerful. List out all your obligations on the left, and all those things you got to do. And I put that in quotes because we all have those things that we feel absolutely obligated to do, and we don't really want to do them, but we said we would, and it creates a lot of stress, I find. And don't get me wrong, like I still do this stuff too, so don't feel bad if you have this. Everyone does, and it's just being aware of it and constantly whittling this list down. Now, take that sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle. Split out all those things on the left side. And then on the right, this is a great thing to do when you're, kind of sitting with yourself at the end of the day and you're just having some quiet time, which I highly suggest you do every day, and kind of just gather your thoughts and be with yourself for a little bit without any distractions. And ask yourself during that time, when you look at that list, all those things, all those activities, all those projects, all those functions and things you said yes to, and the favors you told people you would do, etc. And ask yourself, what are you giving up by saying yes to those things? This is huge. What are you giving up? Okay. In my case, what I found is that, when I first did this, the usual outcome, and I've shared this with a lot of people, and they usually have something similar to this, is that you're going to find about 1 to 2 extra hours a day of free time. And it's going to it might take a minute. It might be difficult to say no to people or start saying no, but the power of saying no is huge, and it's important for you to do that, okay? Excuse me. Because your time is everything, right? Time is the only thing that's really true in the sense, we only have 24 hours a day, but how we spend that is our choice, consciously or unconsciously, really. So when you do this the first time, when you get an extra 1 to 2 hours of time, and if you're one of those people that says, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time to do this, so like you need to do it more. The busier you are, the more you need this, because you will find that when you free up that 1 to 2 extra hours, As far as a percentage of your day goes, like if you assume you sleep 8 hours and you're already down to 16, 2 hours is 1/8 of your day. You take out eating time and using the bathroom and showering and getting to where you need to go, and all of a sudden 2 hours a day is a huge chunk of your available time that you can do whatever it is that you're doing. So when you're in business and you focus on the things that you want to do, the 1 to 3 things, and you're focusing on the people, you're going to give up a lot of all those, helping, Bobby Joe do something, and then Bobby Joe never returns the favor when you need help. You're going to get rid of a lot of those people. I don't play those games anymore. I help a lot of people, but the people I help, I feel would do the same for me if the roles were reversed. And I have no guilty conscience focusing my time on people that I know would help me out if I asked them for something in the future, and that's how I choose to spend my time. And that's really good, because I believe everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. And the fact of the matter is, as a new dad, everything I say yes to means I'm effectively saying no to hanging out with my family. And, you might be in the same position, and you might not look at it like that, and it might be a little bit too of an extreme example, but the principle still holds. So make that list and really go down and ask yourself what you're giving up. When you have that extra free time, you're going to find that by freeing up that time, you're going to be able to focus more on the things and create more win-win deals for yourself. All right, so let's move on. Taking the big picture. Okay, so this is the big picture slide, and I wanted you to, I added this, I wasn't going to add this, but I decided to because I think it's important. One of the biggest sabotages when I teach people win-win deal making is they free up a lot of time. They get rid of a lot of dead projects. They have a lot of extra time. They get a little antsy, okay? And what ends up happening, like 3 to 6 months into this process of becoming a win-win deal maker and building more deals from that mentality, is you have a lot of extra time. And what ends up happening is people sabotage. Oh, that good old sabotage. And what they'll do is they'll start going back to their old ways. They'll have all this free time, so they'll start taking on more projects. Oh, I've got the free time. I got the free time. And it's not about having the free time and filling it up. It's about having the free time and then investing that back more into the same things, going deeper, always deeper within yourself, deeper within your business, deeper with your family. So I want you to take a minute, and you can pause this video in between each section, and I want you to really get clear on this for yourself, okay? Imagine doing these things for your life. This is your goals, your priorities. So these are just 3 examples that I came up with. Adapt them to your own situation. The point is they get you to think, okay? So what if instead of having 3 to 5 activities for each kid, each child that you have, you help them choose 1 to 2 that they were really excited about and the most. I mean, like the ones they loved the most and had the most fun doing. And then use that freed up time from all those, getting rid of all those kind of okay activities, to do family night once a week. Imagine what would happen to your life and how much better your life would be in your relationship with your kids if you gave up all those, kind of okay activities and reallocated that time to family night. Okay? So just take a minute and think about that. All right, welcome back. All right, so the next question I have for you is, what if instead of working on some complicated workout scheme or plan or whatever, you developed 1 good habit per month with your diet and exercise plan, and then let those habits compound over time? How much easier would it be to reach your physical fitness goals by developing 1 good habit every month? All right? So take a minute and think about that one. All right, welcome back. And the last question I have for you is, what if instead of having 10 New Year's resolutions, you set 1 big goal each year for yourself for the rest of your life? Imagine how much better your life would be. Instead of 10, somewhat committed New Year's resolutions, you had 1 big goal for each year, right? Now, this is huge. These are some big questions, and you might want to take some time, when your quiet time tonight, after you watch this video, and really spend some time really feeling into that and thinking what's going to come up, because there's a lot of things tied to this. And this is the whole point. I'm bringing this up, it's not really supposed to be a personal development video or anything like that. But the reality is that when you get better at business, you're going to have more time, and that time becomes more and more valuable the more valuable you become. So you need to ask yourself these questions and really develop this stuff and ask yourself, what's the long-term play? What's the win-win for my family and my health and my finances and my own personal spiritual growth, or whatever, like religion or faith system that you believe in, or whatnot. These are what's important in the long run, not the nitpicky, nitty-gritty stuff of day to day. So as you develop your win-win skills and you focus on this, you're going to find that you have a lot of free time. And in my case, I only work about 2 to 3 hours a day most days. Some days it's more, and some days I don't work at all. But it averages about 2 to 3 hours of productive time a day, because in my case, I've templated so many things over the last couple of years that it doesn't take me a lot of time to do what I need to do to hit my goals and then consistently grow. And then I allocate that time to more growth, and it kind of starts to snowball over time. All right. So here's your next steps. Okay. So what are you going to focus on? What are the 1 to 3 things that you're going to focus on? And what are the 3 to 5 people that you want to work with to do what you want to do in your life? What areas can you make a big impact in today? Whether that's your business or your family situation, you can use this win-win mentality on everything. The big one, what can you cut out to free up more time and energy to focus on your 1 to 3 things that you're really good at? All right. And how much better will your life be when you do the above stuff? Now, that's a big one. So spend some time thinking about that tonight when you're with yourself and just being with yourself. And if you're not doing that, you should start that habit. Spend 30 minutes, quietly just sitting with yourself and pondering the day's events and enjoying yourself. Just not paying attention to your phone or watching TV or listening to noise. Just be quiet and enjoy some time to yourself. Imagine how much better your life will be when you do the above stuff. All right. So if you like this video, shoot me a comment in the description below, or to private message me, or wherever you happen to be seeing this video. Tell me what you think. I'm testing a new setup. I really look forward to your feedback. I appreciate it. I'm always open for constructive criticism. So if you have a suggestion how I can improve the flow of these videos and the content style, I'm more than happy to hear it. I'm a big believer in constant and never-ending improvement, so I appreciate any feedback you have, and hopefully you enjoyed watching this. And, if you implement this stuff, tell me your results. I really, really am inspired to hear your story, and look forward to speaking to you real soon. Thank you.